to the channel. So today, as you saw in the description, talking about a product from Sunwayfoto, and this is one of their tripods. Really impressed with it. I've already taken it out, I've used it several times, put it back in the case just so you can see kind of how it's going to arrive if you decide to purchase one of these. And I'm going to start by the exterior pocket here. Inside, you're going to get some spiked feet. This is an extra in my mind. There are a lot of tripods that you could buy, especially in this price range, that don't come with anything, especially not spiked feet with rubber grommets. So this is really cool. These come with some rubber grommets just for tension and sealing up the right way. Really neat. These look like really high quality ones. And even though I tend not to use spiked feet, usually I leave on the rubber feet. These are a nice option. And in the places like where I'm at right now, which is a really sandy environment, these can be very beneficial and they can really ground you and hold you in. If you're shooting a PRS match or maybe just messing around hunting, I don't know, these could be really, really useful. And so I think that's a great addition. That's money in the bag. And at the price point, I'm really only concerned about the tripod, but this is an extra as far as I'm concerned, and it's a really good extra. On top of that, they do throw in one of their Sunwayfoto. This one is called the SMP80, and it's an Arca Swiss rail. And so this has T-bolts on the back, and this will mount to your gun. So if you're just trying to get into the Arca game and all you have is an M-lock rail on whatever it is that you're mounting up, okay, this right here is going to get you into the game, and it's going to work in correlation with this or in collaboration with this product. And so they give you everything you need to get started other than the ammo and a gun if you're going to shoot off of it. That's really cool. I think that's very forward thinking. I'm really glad to see Sunwayfoto offering some of these things. You know, the price of Arca rail equipment is so expensive on the broader scale, and Sunwayfoto is doing really good things to make this available to, you know, the common man, everyday person who can actually get into the game a little bit and just run higher quality gear. And I'm going to tell you, the fit and finish of their gear is really impressive, especially at the price point. But in general, it's impressive. It just looks really well. It's coated really well. The specs have all been very good and true. The hardware seems very high quality, and it comes with like Loctite on the bolts. I mean, I've bought other brands, name brands, that did not come with that kind of gear attached. So I'm pretty happy when I see things like that. It gives me a good feeling about what I'm going to experience with the rest of it. There is a converter in there if you need an insert. There's a lens cleaning cloth that just has some of their branding on there, as well as some Allens for different parts that you might need on the device. And so I'm just going to open this up a little bit. There's going to be a bit of an instruction manual there with a couple different languages. This might be useful, especially if you're new to using a more serious tripod. It's kind of funny to say it that way, but a more serious tripod that can do things like hold heavy weights, really nice camera gear, shooting off of. You might want to look into that and just get a little understanding of how it works before you mess around with the tripod. It might answer some of your questions ahead of time. Moving on. So the bag itself, it's got a carry handle on it, okay, and you could adjust it to make it a little bit longer, just so you know. The bag itself is good, and the zipper is good. That's usually the two things I'm going to look at, is if it's a junky zipper, I assume it's a junky bag. This one is not a junky zipper, and it's not a junky bag. So good job to Sunwayfoto. It's actually padded a little bit, and it's kind of nice. And the most important part is it's easy enough to get the tripod in and out, and it doesn't seem to have a lot of extra bagginess to it, and it's not so tight that it's just difficult to get in there. And I even have an extra on mine in particular, because like I said, I've already been using it and put the bag aside. So here it is. This is the Sunwayfoto tripod that I'm reviewing today, and man, this thing is so light. Carbon fiber, of course, super light, and it's the footprint is actually relatively small. I'm going to do something. I just want to show you a comparison of another tripod I've had on my channel, but if I can just show you, they get to a similar height, but this one is much heavier, and a lot of that has to do with the head, and that one is also longer, and this one is just shorter. It's more compact. It's easier to transport around, and it fits a lot better in a Grey Ghost Gear backpack that I use. I kind of attach it to the side if I'm going to go out and glass for a while. If I'm shooting a competition, I recently used this. Really, really happy with the footprint in general. And as soon as I took it out of the box, one of the first things I did is I started checking out that carbon fiber. So I wanted to know, how quality is this? How seriously did they take this production? And you know what? They do a lot of camera gear. They do a lot of things in that realm. And I think this is their first few products, one of the first few products where they've kind of gotten into the shooting application of a tripod, and they took it seriously. they did a really good job. I'm actually going to be praising this way higher than the other tripod that I have. The other tripod cost me a lot more money. This one's less, and I have more good things to say about this. And I want to start off with the Arca head. I'll show you that. All right, so briefly, what you're looking at here is a NATO and Arca compatible head. That's really, really cool. This is such an affordable product to be coming with this many features right off the bat. It's hard to find something affordable that comes with both NATO and Arca. It is tension adjustable, so if you want to bring it in a little bit and tighten it up on your Picatinny rail, maybe your Picatinny rail in general just isn't standardized for some reason, or you have an irregular one, maybe one that gets worn out. If I can just show you, that is able to be modified. And you can set it, you can preset it to exactly the gear that you're running very often, you know, using that tensioner. And then on the side, you can go ahead and press the lever down, and that's going to clamp on. I'm going to show you that in a little bit on a couple different kinds of guns. But that clamped down really, really securely. It's very tight. The machining is very clean. The coating is very, this is important, the coating is very evenly distributed. So I think this is going to lock down very nicely. You can see on the head, it's just a standard piece of hardware there. It comes with the proper Allen, so you can remove that if you want to take that out. If you, for whatever reason, want to put a different head itself, a different capture on there, you could. This right here is the clamp, and so this is also, you know, you're providing tension on one side, and on the clamp, this is just securing it down. So when you throw that lever, it's going to clamp it down just like that, and it works really well, guys. Very effective, very tough and rigid. I was surprised, again, at the price, how well this works and how well it's designed. I actually think this was thought through extremely well. If I can just show you on the other side, right here, when I'm activating this, there's a little lip that fits right around that radius corner right there. So the radius corner is kind of what it hangs on, and it just fits and meets really nicely together. It rotates well. The tensioner, when it's on there, is very smooth, but it's got enough viscosity in there to kind of give some feedback that it's actually going the right direction. It's tightening. What I'm trying to say is just the feel of everything has just really impressed me. Moving on down a little bit, right here, again, the coating is really cool. I think the color scheme is actually pretty neat too. Did a good job with that. This head is a type where you can loosen and tighten with a simple clamp. And this ball will rotate anywhere you want like that. Huge range of motion or adjustment. And then it's going to clamp down just like that. And it's solid. Again, I'm going to show you some heavy rifles in here. Very good. I like that. Easy to do on the fly, especially when it's mounted up. I think I should show that to you next. All right, so what I have here is my Sunwayfoto TL-3240CS. And I've got the head that it comes with a NATO and the Arca. I have a Savage, let's see, this is a 10, Savage Model 10 in 308. This one, I do have an Arca weight on there. I have a heavy bipod on there, and it still moves around. Even with a brake on there, it still moves around a little bit. It is a heavy, heavy rifle. This, right now, loaded up, I'm sure it's 19 or 20 where it's at right now, and it could be heavier. I have a little bit of 175 grain ammo, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in the tripod. I'm gonna click it in there. I'm gonna take just 4 shots at 100 yards and just see what kind of stability I can get out of this. Right off the bat, it seems like a very natural height where I've got it at, and I think this is right to get comfortable and stable on it from a seated position. It's something I could practice a little more, and I'm excited to use it with this one. So I'll go ahead and take my mic off, turn that off, take a few shots, and you'll be able to see some of the recoil pattern under, under stress on the tripod. Very tight, locked in really well. And if you needed to, you could crank on that right there. Feels really good, just like that. The switch right here, if I flick that, now I'm loose. So I can go ahead and adjust. And that ball head is very, very smooth for pan or elevation or all of it together. And I have a bubble level on top of my rifle, as every person should. Go ahead and make sure it's level, and I'm going to flip that lever back again. It's good to go. Perfectly level. Does not require a level on the tripod itself. although you probably could install one way or another. There are some threads in here I could probably talk about in a little bit, but as it is, I just like making sure the rifle itself is level using the bubble level indicator. That's MK Machining, by the way. MK Machining is a sponsor of the channel. Appreciate them greatly. Wow. All right. Well, I'm super impressed, guys. You know, I'm shooting this Blackhound 3-18. This is the Evolve series, and it's super clear. It's shooting really, really well. It's sundown, or maybe a little bit past, a couple minutes past sundown here. It's shooting really, really well. I'm shooting off this Sunwayfoto. This is the TL-3240CS model, and I'm just impressed at how stable this thing is. Now, I do have a big, heavy rifle, and I admit that 100%. This is a big, heavy rifle. But it is shooting so well with this optic and tripod combination. I know the rifle and the barrel does well. I've had kind of a lot of rounds through it now. I'm really happy with it, and I'm learning it. I'm learning that trigger a little bit. You know, if you had followed my channel, I'd lighten that trigger up substantially. It's like a 10-ounce trigger right now, so it's even under what it's supposed to be. But I'm just finding this system right here is deadly, man. Like, I feel like shooting, you know, a sub 1 inch group at a little over 100 yards off a tripod for me with a 5-shot group. I feel like that's real progress on my part, so I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm just saying I noticed I'm actually getting better at this, and it makes me feel really good to know that I can haul a tripod around if I want to go hunting, or I want to try out some PRS with a 308 rifle. I might not do that bad overall, and I can even do it affordably. I mean, I'm using a tripod that's under $700. I'm using an optic, again, that is, you know, considered an affordable optic, but it's got a huge range of travel. I think with a 20 MOA rail, I still have 19 mils in here, 19 and a half. I still have 19 and a half mils. So I'll tell you, I like this head style enough that I went ahead and put it on another tripod I had sitting around. I know that's out of focus, but I put it on that one because I just think it's superior. The generic kind that just tighten and loosen, and it's just a wheel back and forth. It's not that they're unreliable, it's just that they're not as useful. I mean, being able to throw in a super heavy rifle and just leave it. Like this thing, I know it's balanced right now pretty well, but this thing is so rock solid. Like when I pull as hard as I can, it's actually clamped in really well. And I could even throw it out of balance here a little bit and maybe even just rock it like this. That sucker's stable. It's not leaning on me, guys. It's not leaning on me at all. And when I bring it up and I make it taller, which maybe I'll do in a little bit, when I bring it taller, the leg width obviously goes out and it's even more stable, but I'm the lowest setting right now, pretty much minus a couple inches. I'm on the lowest setting right now, and it's just completely stable and locked in really tight. It's very reliable. I trust this like 100%. And so that's good to know. I couldn't use it if I couldn't trust it. That's just a fact. I would be too nervous about breaking something. Just trying to find a way to make it seem unbalanced. And it's just, let's throw this off for a second. Let's see. No, it's just balanced. It's good. It's strong. I think this clamp mechanism is like my new favorite thing. I love this. It's so easy to use quickly and like kind of hold it in your hand. If I can show you on the other side maybe. So like using this right here and being able to articulate the head, the ball head around, I really like this system because I can loosen it up a little bit and this go right back down. Very convenient. I could find this to be super convenient with cameras as well. And I'm using a camera to film this, so I can't exactly show you that one, but I could see this being really convenient for quick shots and repositioning and just locked down tight, solid. Machined very well. The internals of this are solid, guys. I don't know what else to say other than it's just really solid. So another feature that's going to make a lot of people happy is that this is threaded. And it comes with an insert as well if you need one of those, but it's threaded, so you could add different devices or maybe a kestrel holder. I can just think of so many different things. I even saw a guy last week with an umbrella mounted up through one of these. It's a really great idea. This is also internally threaded. Inside of here, there is a thread pitch in there. I've never used this kind before. I intend to find an accessory holder that will go off of that thread pitch, and so that's really cool. But this one is probably the one that gets most people excited because it's utilizing the mount and the head. Like every square inch of this makes sense and has purpose, and that's what I want to see in a product. If I'm going to spend, a few hundred, $500, $600 on a tripod, I want to see every square inch of it make sense and be well put together. And there is nothing about this that isn't well put together. It is so impressive. It's very well thought out. I definitely think they did their market research with this. They must have had some really good input from different people about how to use these or how they're using these and the way that people want to moving forward, because this is definitely the future. I want to see, threaded mounts and accessory holders on the tripod itself, and this one definitely has it. So that's a great feature right there as well. Something I should point out real quickly is that this does not come with the rock bag I have attached here. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and take it off. But obviously these are super affordable. I wouldn't be surprised if Sunwayfoto sold some of those as well. Most tripod companies have something like that. And I just find it makes it more versatile. I like to weigh things down, and sometimes I just need a place to hold my gear or a box of ammo, extra magazine, something along those lines. So a rock bag holder is a nice accessory on tripods. I throw that on there, it works well. This right here would be your standard setting. You can release these by pushing in just a little bit so it goes down and then pull out. And if I can just show you something, there's two things I really like about these. I'm gonna try to line it up so you can see a little better. These pop out, guys. I'm gonna come in a little closer. All right, so they can pop out, but they're also spring loaded. So there's two settings there, check this out. So if you need to go back and forth and you don't want it accidentally saving a place, you can go in and it'll snap back into the kind of primary position, and you can bring it down to kind of a straight up and down vertical. Or if you think you need to leave it out and you're going to be adjusting on the fly, even to the extreme. I mean, that's really cool that a tripod in this price point is coming with these features. I've seen it on some other tripods, but when you're comparing these features against tripods that sometimes cost 3 or 4 times the price, I think that's just wild. But this is coming with quite a few features, and it's just affordable. I'm sorry, as far as tripods go, this is considered affordable. This is a really good deal. And it's just machined well, it's well made. I've been messing with these a lot, and it doesn't even have wear marks on it. It makes me feel like the actual coating on this is a really high quality coating. So I just don't see wear marks on it, even after messing around with it for a while. But I love that. I think it's so cool that it has both the spring as well as the lockout so that you can go ahead and snap into those positions. Very cool. That's something I just wanted to point out if you're curious about that. And I'll show you in a little bit what that looks like, totally flat or in the different positions you can have the tripod. Moving down the line here a little bit, here's where the legs extend, and something pretty unique, I think, to especially tripods in this price point. These extension bars here, the legs themselves, they're adjustable on the inside. So in here, if I can show you right here, you can actually adjust these. So if you think it's a little loose or you want it tighter for whatever reason, you want to change things out, I don't know, they're adjustable. And so that's nice. You can actually access it. You can see what's going on with the hardware. They slide really, really nicely. The tension is set up good from the factory. For me, the way that it was set up, I wouldn't change it personally, but these things are silk, absolutely silk. The other tripod I have, which some of you guys know about, I reviewed on my channel, they're not bad, but they're not as good as this. And I think the carbon fiber is nicer. Honestly, I do. So they slide back in really well. I think this system right here, rather than a twist system, is nice. I like these big tabs. It's easy to grab onto. And quite frankly, it's a little bit easier when it's in a standing position to go ahead and grab one of these levers and move it up and clamp it again, rather than the twist kind. I'm really not used to that. I don't think it's quite as smooth. Sometimes I don't get a good enough grip on them either. And these are just super easy to go back and forth when it's in a vertical or placed position on top of something. I just think it's better, honestly. I like that a lot. Very smooth, very strong feeling, robust, which is what you need to have when you pay a little bit of money for a good quality carbon fiber tripod, whether you're using camera gear or an expensive heavy rifle with a $2,000 optic on top. You want something you can trust, and I definitely trust this. I would not recommend what I'm about to tell you, but I did hang some serious weight off this. Too much. It was way above what they recommended or what it's qualified for, because I was curious about the head. I just wanted to know what kind of weight it could take, and then I was curious about the structure itself. What kind of weight could that dimension take right here in its standard positioning? And it took a lot. I'll just say that. It took a lot, more than what's even advertised, but stick to the advertised weight. And those conditions, that's obviously going to void the warranty if you mess with it and you do something silly like that. I just wanted to know how much can this thing take, and these are set up well. Nothing slipped, nothing went down, nothing cracked. I think this is actually a pretty dang tough tripod. All right, well, a little B-roll is going to play in the background while I give some closing thoughts. I'm going to tell you that for a 4-pound tripod, this particular model, which I have in this review, is a 4-pound model. I think it's really impressive what they can get away with only 4 pounds. Compare that with some of the older tripods or even some modern tripods that are also carbon fiber. The strength of this is very, very solid, especially considering the legs are not quite as fat as some other ones or as thick as some other ones on the market, and yet I felt very stable shooting off of it. I shot out past 1,000 yards off of the tripod. That was in a seated position, but in standing, I've shot out to 800 yards, and I was making hits on my full-size IDPA. Felt very solid on those legs, and so that's really good to know that I can rely on that when I have a big heavy rifle on there, but I do use it for other things very often. In fact, if I'm going to go to the range, I pretty much just bring it no matter what. It's going to be used for my rangefinder, or maybe a camera, or a rifle, or to hold things, or maybe like my chronograph. I actually do that pretty often. I'll use this for my chronograph. I can take standing shots, I can take sitting shots, I can take bench shots. I can also take shots from the prone, which is something that you probably saw in the intro of the video, which is really impressive. This tripod rather, has no middle feature. It doesn't have a pole in the middle for elevation adjustment, so those legs being able to fan out all the way, all the way broad, kind of like I'm going to show you here just in a second in the B-roll. That is so useful because there's a lot of times where I have a camera mounted up and I don't want to have to take it off the Arca. I just want to leave it on there, and so I can go back and forth on leg positions really smoothly, really easily. All my rifles have Arca, so it's extremely simple just to lock in, and I have the same Arca rails. Sunwayfoto does make Arca rails, by the way, guys. Go ahead and check those out because I think they're pretty high quality, and then you have the same specs for all those Arca rails, and you can just throw it into this mount and it matches up really nice. All their materials, all their gear seems to be produced at just a really high level of quality, and so I think that's kind of the main thing people want to know. Is this something that is almost Tupperware disposable? Is this going to be a few uses and it's going to break on me? No, it's actually really high quality. This is just as good or better than some of the competitors that you're going to see out there for much, much more money. And this is very affordable. I think when it comes to tripods of this quality, this is actually affordable. I was testing it out on multiple different rifles. I flexed that head, putting weight, like as you see right here, that's a very heavy rifle. And letting it balance like that is just a display of just how much weight it can actually take. I tried to show you that it's not resting on anything else here. And the tripod is really steady. It's very stable. From the lowest position all the way up to the tallest position with the footprint of those legs, it really can handle a lot of angulature, attaching the rifle in different ways. You don't have to shoot it just in the closest, most conservative position. I actually have it weighted right there, that standard or that kind of like hunting sitting position right there. A lot of times a tripod would tip over, I think, but this one just balanced really well. The way that the legs work out, the angles, those kind of things do matter with tripods, and the fact that it is so versatile for the number of things that I do has made it a tripod worth owning for sure. And it's something I can definitely recommend for anybody who's using it for those number of uses. Something I wasn't able to show in this video was like high angle shooting. I don't have a lot of high angle positions that are more than 50 yards or 100 yards. And so you'll just have to take my word for it that I believe this would be very stable from a high angle or a low to high angle shooting situation. I think you would be able to get very firm and comfortable. Also, remember this comes with different kinds of feet that you can lock into, and so the feet on it, you could put sharper feet if you're in a mountain kind of terrain and you need something with a little bit more of an aggressive foot type so that it digs into the soil better. You have those other options as well. I use it every time I'm out to the range. I'm not sure what else to tell you guys other than it's really, really high quality. It was higher than what I even expected to get. It really surpassed my expectations, and I've had a lot of fun shooting off of it. I think the type of leg release that it has, instead of the twister, this one has the clamp that's adjustable. That's one thing to consider if that works for you, if you want to try that out. I really liked it. I was surprised how much smoother this felt than using the twisters, which is something that I had previously used. I like this a little bit better on this design at least, and it's been really fun to try out some different tripod things I just haven't gotten to yet, and I'm still learning a lot, especially shooting off a tripod with different kinds of guns. I'm still learning a lot about that, positions, how to stay steady, how to pull the trigger, all that kind of thing. But the tripod is doing everything that a tripod should. It's stable, it's easy to use, it's very lightweight, and it's very, very strong in the head itself. The ball mount is consistent. I don't feel it slipping. I didn't notice the Arca mount slipping at all, even with a fair bit of recoil, kind of free recoil out of that 308 rifle when it wasn't quite as weighted down. It was doing really, really well. All the components seem tight and fit well. It's well thought through. I think the threading on the top is really cool. You can add accessories. I see that the style of tripod that it is something probably a little bit better towards heavier loadouts or rifles, things like what I'm doing, shooters, hunters. I think this is probably one of the better uses for it, but I just found it useful in all those other categories. The design, the fit and finish, the features, everything about it is something I can get behind, and so I'm just going to go ahead and recommend it, guys. Go ahead and check out Sunwayfoto. You can even catch them on Amazon, a couple other sites. B&H Photo also has some of their stuff. I think you're going to find out that their prices are really reasonable, their products are really high quality, and it's going to help you improve whatever you're doing, whether that's shooting rifles or shooting footage.